What the heck is Gucci, Matcha Nation, Messari gang? I'm happy you're here. You are with Matcha Messari Mondays. I'm not saying this is going to be every Monday, but we're happy it is this Monday. If you are here, I'm happy you're here. Stick around with us. If you're listening to the recording, I'm happy you're listening to the recording. Please stick around for that as well. Today, we are going to be diving deep into the Messari Matcha brief for 2023, penned by Micah Casella, an analyst and writer from Messari. He's here on the stage as well. And of course, I have my co-CEO here at Matcha and Zero X, Will Warren, who's going to be able to talk about everything Matcha. And I'm excited to be able to, make this a little sweeter for the listeners by giving 50 USDC away to 4 listeners. If you're going to be interested to win that, stick around with us to the end. I'm going to post a tweet picker. If you haven't been around for that before, I'm going to post a tweet. You're going to retweet it. And then within a couple minutes, we're going to pick a winner from those retweets. All right. So stick around with us. I want you to be here if you're going to claim that prize. And without further ado, let's get started. Well, I just gave you an intro to who we're talking to today. Let's start it off with Micah. Maybe he can give himself a quick intro, maybe a better one than I gave him. But hey, Micah, welcome to the stage. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me. As Michael said, I'm Micah. I'm a researcher at Messari. I also cover a bunch of protocols, not just Matcha. I cover like Chronicle, Sui, Algorand, Zero X as well. I also just simply use Matcha, and I find the product quite helpful. I know I've saved at least a couple $100, especially in parts of the market cycle when trading goes crazy and gas can range between like 20 and $50. All in all, I find DeFi to be crypto's best, like on-chain use case, and I see a lot of potential for like co-processing and for arbitrary computation, but that's a different topic for another time. I'm excited to talk about DeFi today.
Heck yeah. Thank you, Micah. Yes. Just to say that again, folks, I brought the big brains for the spaces today. All right. Micah is going to be able to tell us not just about Matcha, but we're going to get some color from the DeFi space and what we can expect for 2024 as well from Micah. Thank you, Micah. We also have Will Warren. I think I gave you a tiny intro, but Will, if you want to say hi to the folks and just, maybe remind some folks who might not be big Will Warren stands like me.
Thank you, Mike. Hi. I'm Will. I'm one of the co-founders of Zero X and Matcha. Uh, my co-founder Amir and I started working on Zero X back in 2016, and really kind of the core thesis behind everything we've built to date, including Matcha, is this kind of core thesis that all forms of value will end up tokenized on public blockchains like Ethereum. So traditional assets like stocks, bonds, fiat currency, startup equity, all the way to kind of more niche assets that couldn't have even existed before tokenization and public blockchains. And so, we've been kind of pursuing this mission for a long time now, and around 3 years ago, we started building Matcha as the search engine for tokens and liquidity. We want to make it extremely simple for anyone to go to a simple, kind of familiar search engine, look for any token, easily find it, and also find all of the best sources of liquidity in order to buy or sell it at the best possible price. So that's a little bit of an introduction on Zero X and Matcha.
Thank you, Will. For those folks in the spaces right now and not listening to the recording, I just pinned 2 tweets. One of them is from Matcha. It is going to take you to the same place, I think, as the other tweet. Yeah, load this up if you want to look through the brief while we talk through what's going on with Matcha, what's going on with the brief, what's going on with Messari, and what Mike is thinking about in DeFi right now. So if you want to pull that up, I just pinned 2 tweets with the brief link in them. All right, let's kick this off. I'm going to start the Q&A part of this. Oh, that reminds me. If you are part of the Matcha Discord, at me in general chat with any questions that you want me to ask. I will be happy to facilitate asking those to either Micah or to Will or to both of them. Just give me a tag in the Matcha Discord and I'll make sure to ask your question. All right, sweet. So for the folks that have the brief up, read along with us. We're going to be jumping around a little bit. I'm just going to start this off with a topic that is bright in my mind right now. And I'm going to ask it to Will first about Matcha Auto. let's give the crowd some color on this Matcha Auto. We've had some topics about fees in DeFi and swaps in DeFi and what we should be providing for users if we're going to be charging some fees. So, just some color for folks that don't know. Matcha Auto, we saw a 7% increase in trades processed. Oh, excuse me, wrong bullet point. The launch of Matcha Auto in 2023 in May, it was a significant step we feel for Matcha and the product that we've been stewarding for the last couple of years for DeFi users. Will, can you elaborate on what Matcha Auto is and how its features like quicker transaction execution and MEV risk mitigation are impacting users today? How are Matcha users benefiting from Matcha Auto?
Yeah, happy to dig in. So maximal extractable value is a way of manipulating the sequencing of trades within a block in order to give an attacker, basically more value at the expense of a vulnerable target transaction. So it could just be anyone, they're going to the Uniswap user interface to complete a trade, and they sign this transaction and send it off to the blockchain to be mined. And what they end up seeing once their transaction is mined is that they actually received less tokens than what was displayed in the user interface. And so, maybe they were planning to receive 100 USDC in their wallet, but instead they received 95 USDC. And this is a pretty significant, I would call it a problem for decentralized finance. I think a lot of people spend time studying MEV, and it's really intellectually stimulating topic. But at the end of the day, uh, MEV, has resulted in like $1 billion being transferred from the pockets of everyday people that are completing swaps on dexes to, essentially, adversarial R bots that are looking for trades that they can go and take advantage of. And so $1 billion, it's an insane dollar value, has been transferred from the pockets of everyday traders to these bots. And there needs to be a way to protect traders against this. And so, Matcha Auto is our approach to protecting users against MEV extraction. There's a couple of other really nice benefits to Matcha Auto as well. So first, one of the most frustrating things about transacting on a blockchain is when you sign this transaction and you pay the gas and you send it off and the transaction fails and you just wasted a whole bunch of gas money. Your transaction didn't actually complete what you were intending to do. It's a really frustrating experience. And this happens, reverts actually happen a lot more frequently when markets are very volatile. Um, so Matcha Auto, not only does it protect you against MEV, so you're going to get the price you see, but it also protects you against your transactions failing and wasting gas money. And so, yeah, Matcha Auto also, reduces reverted transactions by 85%. So yeah, there's a number of really great benefits to Matcha Auto. And yeah, our goal is to essentially, allow the folks that aren't necessarily pro traders to go in and get extremely good pricing without, having to worry about MEV attacks or their trade reverting.
Great, thank you, Will. Micah, I'm gonna tap you into this one. I want you to comment on the greater, as you see fit, of course, on the greater idea of how dexes are impacted by MEV, and how new traders are responding to certain types of volatility and revert rates. And if you can, what you thought about Matcha Auto when you were looking at Matcha.
Yeah, I mean, MEV protection will detailed why it's pretty important. It's, from what I see, it tends to mostly impact like large volume traders. So if you're trading any sort of volume, there's always a threat that somebody's going to try to manipulate that trade in some way to get them the most amount of value. That being like a block producer or a validator or whatnot. But in terms of, like Matcha Auto and all of the interesting things that brings to the table. Yeah, I mean, I find that super useful. Like, just for opting in to pay, like, I believe it's 0.15% of a fee on trades. You get to abstract away gas fees. So, like for people who don't know, if you don't hold ETH, you can't really trade. You can't do any sort of activities on Ethereum. But the cool thing that Matcha Auto lets you do, you don't need to hold the native gas token, and you can still make trades using it. So I find things like that are going to be super impactful for bringing new users into DeFi. It completely lowers the barrier of entry and understanding that people need to use applications and trade.
Super. Thank you, Micah. I appreciate that. I think we have the same feeling here at Matcha. Will, I know that, in a number of different teams, of course, of the Creed at Matcha, like we're trying to build the most frictionless DeFi product for all users, of course, and especially those folks who have no idea what's going on when they come on chain. So, Will, I think what Michael was talking about was, frictionless DeFi protocols, such as the stuff that we're trying to build at Matcha, really good for bringing on new users. What is your take on that? How does Matcha think about UI and why it's important in DeFi? And I know we have some pretty core competencies and core values that speak to that you might want to talk about.
Yeah. Well, also first, yeah, Mike, I really appreciate the report that you put together. It was really well researched, and yeah, I really appreciate the emphasis put on data. So yeah, I mean, onboarding a mainstream audience to blockchains is been, probably one of the biggest challenges for five plus years now. MetaMask, you know, MetaMask is everyone in the crypto space, we owe a major debt of gratitude for MetaMask for allowing the maybe few million folks that have tried sending an Ethereum transaction, onboarding all those folks into self custody, super challenging, and so we all owe MetaMask a major debt of gratitude, and at the same time, it, we're if we want to reach hundreds of millions of users, if we really want to reach global scale adoption, solving for a better user experience, and especially some of the rough edges that come with self custody, that is going to be absolutely crucial. And so, yeah, this is our mission is to create a tokenized world where all value can flow freely. And in order to do that, we need to make this technology accessible to a broad audience. And that's exactly what we're trying to do with Matcha. We're trying to create a consumer product that's friendly, accessible, looks out for you. And I think we've done pretty well so far. But the entire space has so much further to go before I think it's realistic that we'll see more than just kind of crypto enthusiasts actively using these products that exist today.
Great. Thank you, Will. Yeah, and again, I'm sorry I didn't say it before, but Michael, yeah, wonderful brief that you wrote for Matcha. And also there's one for 0x now, by the way. Plug that real quick. But for everybody reading along in the brief, yeah, appreciate Micah's, especially his attention to research and detail on this one. All right. So with frictionless, on the topic of being frictionless, Will and Micah, it seems that this brief covers that Matcha has expanded its token coverage. I want to make sure I get this right, and I know it's right, but 11,000 tokens to now 4.7 million tokens that users can go on Matcha, search for a token that they want, find it, and trade it. Is that right, Will? So and that's also in supported by liquidity sources being improved to 72 to over 100. So I mean, over 100 different liquidity sources that Matcha users are able to access when they search and trade on Matcha. So Will, let me ask you this: how does this expansion, token expansion, align with Matcha's vision of being a frictionless protocol as possible, and what impact are we seeing on the platform at present and in the future in terms of token availability and being able to support more liquidity sources?
Yeah, good question. So this is I think this is the feature that I'm most excited about for Matcha that we've shipped in the last year. So as Michael mentioned, we went from supporting approximately 11,000 different tokens. So if you go to matcha.xyz, you go to the search bar and you search for some sort of token. We would search a universe of 11,000 different tokens in order to try and find the best result. And in the past year, we shipped a massive upgrade that I think we're the only one that offers it, where we are scraping every single blockchain we support from the Genesis block all the way to today. And we are indexing every single ERC20 token that has ever been created on all of these different networks so that you can search and query these tokens through the Matcha search bar. This is incredibly powerful because, uh, you know, again, we think permissionless innovation, being able to tokenize assets and use them for all sorts of different use cases. It's hard to know how people are going to use tokens. It might be that a small community, a group of friends creates a token that they just want to use within their own in-group. And being able to find that token or any other token on Matcha through search, and then also being able to automatically, find wherever any pockets of liquidity are located for that token and ensure you get the best price. That's like a really powerful value proposition, and I'm particularly excited to see how different kind of small niche communities with tokens might uh, be able to kind of discover those tokens and as well the liquidity for them using the new Matcha. So yeah, I think it's a feature that I'm extremely excited about, and I think we're seeing a lot of folks are kind of discovering this new feature, and yeah, over Q3 and going into Q4, we've seen tons and tons of new users. Hundreds are coming in every day and trying out the product and seeing what it has to offer. So it's been very encouraging so far.
Guys, I think he's understanding it just a little bit. If you are any sort of shade of degen like I am, sometimes a certain suspect token name might show up in your group chat, and you can just search that on Matcha, and it's there. I don't need to go to CoinGecko, find the contract address. Matcha is showing new tokens within 15 minutes of hitting the blockchain. That's the takeaway there. Not that you should be trading degen tokens all the time, but within 15 minutes, I think a lot of these, is this right, Will? A lot of these dexes are just using a token list of some sort. But the power of what we have at Matcha is letting people find tokens within, like I said, 15 minutes of hitting the blockchain.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, folks. So just caveat that if you should test it yourself. I just pinned a tweet that has a link directly to Matcha. Look up a name of a token that you are like you want to challenge us. Like, I don't think it's gonna show up, and go see it. Let's go see and let me know if you find it. All right, I got one from Micah on the same topic of just how the market has been changing. People wanting more tokens being created, stuff like Friend Tech. By the way, you can find those things on Matcha as well. But despite this market turn, Micah, I think Matcha's been trying to implement several different upgrades and stuff that I think our users are wanting to do. So, from your perspective, please be honest, how effective have these upgrades been in retaining and engaging users for Matcha?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's super impactful. There's a lot of tools or features that I don't necessarily find elsewhere. Like something that's just super intuitive that everybody should have that's an aggregator that not everybody does have is like the multi-search or the multi-chain search displays. Like it's kind of, in my opinion, like a no-brainer, but not not everyone has it. Which Michael, what you just highlighted about degen trading with Matcha now supporting over 4 million tokens. That's probably going to be my primary avenue now for degen trading, because like usually you have to look through some obscure decks, some obscure dexes on like base or whatever to find all these tokens that, like you said, hit up my my TG or my Discord chats. And yeah, I mean, I've already used Matcha for that purpose, and it's pretty awesome that all of the stuff that Matcha already offers, you can now get that for quite newly listed or newly created tokens. And even for the more sophisticated traders too, like the people who like to use limit orders, I think duplicating past trades is super impactful, and it just saves a lot of time for having to recreate the past trades. And also, what is it? I believe you guys have that batch cancellation. I haven't used it yet. I tend to like the limit orders I make, but if I were to make just a crap load of bad orders, yeah, I mean, it'd just be a big time saver to be able to cancel them all at once. So.
Oh yeah, they work, Micah. I'm not like you. I don't make great limit orders all the time. the batch cancellation is hot. And by the way, Henry Zhu in the audience built that, and we appreciate you, Henry, for that. So awesome. I appreciate that, Mike. I'm about to send you a Telegram message just to reiterate how much I appreciated that. Perfect segue for you, Will. We're talking about limit orders. I don't think a lot of people in the DeFi space are using this as much as they probably could if they knew more about limit orders. So I want to talk about it. I'm not even sure a lot of DEXs offer limit orders. So Will, why is that the case? How is this a useful tool for traders? Who's using it besides me and Micah? And how is this something that can help like professional traders and institutions come to Web3?
Yeah, so there are typically, I mean, there's all sorts of different order types that exist out there in the world, but typically when talking about exchanges, there are kind of two different main order types that consumers use. So a market order saying, "Hey, I want to buy this amount of a token. Just give me the best price, whatever's available. I'll just take the best price that is available." And then there are limit orders, and limit orders are used when a trader says, I want to set my price, and I don't want my trade to impact the price of the market. Instead, I would rather set my price and let the market come to me. And so Matcha, we've supported limit orders for a long time now, and we recently shipped some really nice quality of life improvements to the limit order experience in Matcha. But yeah, so limit orders are something that we've been working on for a really long time. Yeah, I mean, we started building 0x protocol as a limit order protocol back in 2016, and so it's an area that we have a lot of experience in. And one of the great things about limit orders is that since you're setting your price and letting the market come to you, you are not vulnerable to MEV attacks in the same way you are if your trade is routed through an automated market maker like a Uniswap or a Curve or whatever. Um, you know, you're essentially setting your price and you're going to get exactly that price. So that's one of the nice things about limit orders that I think Matcha is I think this is like a bit of an undervalued, a bit of a hidden gem feature that more and more people are going to start to use as they become familiar with this option.
And in what ways is Matcha providing limit orders that's like different than other, people that offer limit orders in this space? Like, how are we, ensuring that these orders are executed efficiently and at our best possible prices?
Yeah, well, so one of the great things about limit orders is you set the price and the market comes to you. And so, one of the great things about Matcha and the Matcha limit order experience is the quality of life. We spent a lot of time in the past quarter, essentially like redesigning and re-implementing the entire limit order flow, so that it's just very easy for you to, know what price you're setting and where it sits with respect to the market price, and just making that entire flow much more easy to understand. And since you're setting the price and the market comes to you, uh, when your limit order gets crosses the market price on chain, there are going to be a bunch of robotic traders, probably the same robots that are sandwich attacking AMM trades. They're swooping in to fill these limit orders and arb them with the other markets that exist. So what this means is you're going to get the exact
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
price that you set. Uh, and you're going to get filled. Your limit order will get executed as soon as it's possible to do that in a way that meets the market where it is.
Great. Thank you, Will. And once again, thank you, Henry, and the audience for building all the different things you've built for and contribute to with limit orders, all the Matcha engineers. Micah, I want to pick your brain a little bit, man. I think a lot of people want to hear what your big brain has to say about some of these DeFi trends we're looking at. But in general, like limit orders for you how are you seeing limit orders expressed in DeFi? Do you also think like Will that it's like a sleeper feature in DeFi? And yeah, otherwise how are you using limit orders on Matcha?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of DeFi applications are gonna, if they haven't already, are gonna start building the functionality to implement limit orders, just because it's quite a useful feature to have as opposed to just trading market prices all day and being subject to different forms of slippage. But yeah, I mean, generally I prefer to trade with limit orders, especially if I'm gonna be making a bigger trade on DeFi, which usually is quite difficult or or stressful to do otherwise.
Great. Yeah, thank you. I'll ask you another question, Mike. Or before I do that, I want to remind everybody if you're listening to the Spaces live right now, we're going to give away $50 USD. Thanksgiving season vibes to four people who are listening to the Spaces. In about 10 minutes, I'm going to post a tweet. I'm going to pin it, and you retweet that. It's all you need to do to enter. And we appreciate you joining us for these Spaces and tapping into the big brain discussion we're having with Micah and Will. Hey, we've been seeing in this report, you talk about how Ethereum is some of the biggest volumes that we see on Matcha historically, but something funny happened in Q3, and that was that I think in your analysis you noted the shift in trade share from Ethereum to optimism on Matcha. A lot of optimism users coming and trading on Matcha. So I wonder if do you have any idea what's driving this trend and how it might impact the future of aggregators like Matcha that L2s are transacting on aggregators?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a tough question, but it's definitely a trend that optimism is growing its activity. I know in one of our articles, I think we did an optimism brief, that I think we reported that over 80% of optimism's consumer activity falls within the realms of DeFi. So, and also, Optimism's network usage grew like crazy in Q3, having, I believe, 40% more transactions, which I would imagine are at least partially catalyzed by the average transaction fee falling by, I think, around like 45 or 50% from probably stemming from like the Bedrock upgrade. But all in all, it seems Optimism's sort of superchain vision is going to be quite compelling in the future. And basically, if you don't really know what that is, it's basically the idea of Optimism creating like a unified network of all chains built using the OP stack. And obviously, this includes Optimism, but it also includes chains which you might not have known were built using the OP stack, but chains like Base, OP BNB, which is BNB chains, optimistic rollup, and Zora. These were all chains built using the OP stack. And if Optimism is successful in building a communication layer that enables this sort of like near seamless interoperability that they're envisioning, I think this will translate into some pretty cool functionalities for the applications that support OP stack built chains. But back to your question, I guess, like how could this affect Matcha in the future? Well, I think it'll help you guys roll out cooler products. For example, like maybe a de facto bridge that would enable someone to trade assets between maybe Optimism and Base pretty seamlessly. Or, also assuming DeFi maintains its over 80% dominance of Optimism-based transactions. Any growth now as the market continues to turn will definitely benefit Matcha DeFi applications in general. And we're already seeing optimism activity driving a lot of the action on Matcha, so it'll be super impactful.
Yeah, thank you, Micah. Always with the gems, bro. First and foremost, if you are Optimism gang listening to the spaces right now, we love you. I love you personally, and thank you for using Matcha. We want to keep making Matcha great for Optimism users. And gosh, it does seem like, like so much amazing things are happening in the optimism space, and especially looks like they have quite the appetite for DeFi, which is wonderful. I'll just say this: I know some of you are looking for some alpha in this space. I'm not going to say anything specific, but some of the things that Micah mentioned there are resonant with us. And you might see an opportunity for Matcha to mint something on Zora next month. Who knows why? I don't know. And that's all I'm going to say for that. Will, I'm going to throw it back to you, man. Something Micah mentioned is a lot in this brief and also here on the spaces. We got some of the best rates, I think, as far as revert rates in DeFi, meaning low revert rates consistently. So I think we've been able to maintain that below average revert rate. I think that's a significant achievement in the DeFi space. I think Mike could attest to that. I just want to see if you can explain some of the strategies or the technological advancements that Matcha has implemented to make this happen, and specifically, like how does 0x and their APIs factor into this?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, again, just a review for folks that might not be super familiar with the term revert rate. So when you're trading on a centralized exchange, uh, usually without doubt, 100% of the time, your trade is going to go through successfully and almost instantly. And this isn't the case with decentralized exchanges that sit on top of blockchains. Uh, in fact, 10 to 20% of all transactions that are sent through decentralized exchanges end up failing and just wasting gas money. And it's super frustrating for users. And, you know, this happens more, reverted trades happen even more frequently when the market's very volatile and the blockchain network starts to get really congested. There's all sorts of people that are kind of converging on the blockchain and trying to get their transactions in. There's a flurry of activity, and it's exactly during these really volatile moments where network fees are elevated, when swap DEX swaps end up reverting at a much higher rate. And that's just not an acceptable user experience for folks that are trying out decentralized, exchanges for the first time. It's a pretty bad experience, especially if you're trying to make some sort of time-sensitive trade and the market is moving. Having that swap fail is just a horrible experience. And so reducing these failed transactions, this revert rate, so the percentage of swaps that end up failing, has been a high priority for us for a number of years. And we consider, revert rates just one of the different factors that goes into trade execution and ensuring that users are always getting the best trade execution. And so, it's something that we've been sensitive to for a long time because we know our users are sensitive to it. And our revert rate is, I think it's 50% or even less of kind of the top leaders, other top leaders in the DEX space.
I have a pinned tweet, by the way, folks. Not to cut you off, Will, but just real quick, I have a pinned tweet from Micah that shows the chart of where Matcha fits in terms of the average revert rate to the market. So continue, Will. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so it's reverts are a very annoying kind of experience to have, and I know that firsthand. And so reducing these for users is a high priority. And with Matcha Auto, we reduce reverts, as close to zero as possible, which is a pretty big technical and user experience achievement. Another technology that goes into the APIs powering Matcha it is request for quote. So this is a custom request for quote system that allows us to request prices from professional market makers. And essentially a market maker can respond to us with a price that they're willing to honor right now, and guarantee that price, lock it in with no possibility of MEV extraction, and with a much almost eliminate the chance of kind of transactions colliding with one another and resulting in failed trades. So RFQ is another piece of Matcha's offering that allows for a really robust trade execution experience and lower revert rates.
Micah, you've dived deep into Matcha and 0x, RFQ, and transaction relay API. Is Will spitting facts, or what do you have to add to that, if anything, as far as like what you know about both protocols, Matcha and the APIs at 0x? Is what we're doing working to help reduce revert rates for the markets?
Yeah, I mean, I think Matcha's stability and performance, if anything, is a testament to the robustness of 0x infrastructure. Um, 0x grew the number of applications that implemented its infrastructure during Q3, and I think that trend will probably continue, just based on the performance, safety, and robustness that 0x essentially provides via its tooling and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, regarding the RFQ system, it's a really interesting system to integrate like an on-chain queue with sort of liquidity source from professional market makers off-chain. It's just it's a system that really lends itself to I would say user experience, largely in the sense of protecting anybody from MEV, but also finding people the best prices for trades. Because as I said earlier when we started this conversation, like I've been using Matcha for at least a few years now, and I've saved hundreds of dollars using Matcha, and likely a result of having of trades being sourced through just a bunch of liquidity sources, both on and off chain.
Dang. Thank you, Micah. That's super to hear, folks. I want to double tap that real quick. If you don't know what the heck 0x is, 0x creates APIs that power so much of what we all use in crypto. And to say that again, Matcha, vertically aligned with 0x, benefits from some of these APIs that aren't even widely available for the entire market yet, such as, well, I don't want to say those things I don't know yet, but things are happening in Matcha that are powered by 0x that are benefiting better trades for you. So when you go and find, load up your favorite DEX in the Google Chrome address bar, it really does matter where you're going and where you're pressing submit and confirming trades on. You should consider doing it on Matcha. So real quick, folks, I'm about to tweet. If you're here right now, you're good for you, because I'm about to tweet right now. Boom. I'm going to pin it to this spaces right now. I'm pinning the tweet that you need to retweet to enter for the $50 USDC prize. It is pinned right now. It should have materialized at the top of the spaces. Tap that, press retweet. I'm going to go into some final questions with Micah and Will, and then we'll see where the dust settles with that. All right, Micah, while I got you, man, I want to pick the big brain one more time on this topic. Your perspective on DeFi's future. All right. I think we're all excited. I see hundreds of people in this spaces today. We're all excited about, maybe doing some on-chain activity again. Based on your analysis of Matcha and the broader market trends that you're very close to, what is your outlook on the future of DeFi, particularly regarding like user adoption and like technological advancements? Is there going to be appetite to do things on DeFi again soon?
Yeah, I mean, I would say there are a few interesting futures of DeFi, mostly, I would say, largely contextualized by the environments that are being operated on. So, like, that is, the future of DeFi, like on Solana and Sui, and like on high throughput chains will be different from the future of DeFi on Say and DYDX. Base layer is literally built for the specific purpose of serving various DeFi protocols, and then this will also differ from DeFi on EVM-based chains. So in general, I think the growth of DeFi on base layers building native order books or that are explicitly catered to certain activities, let's say in DYDX, will be super impactful once they figure out this sort of like seamless user onboarding. Because like right now, EVM-based chains have a large portion. If not, I would say probably a majority of the users. So I imagine DeFi and EVM chains will be mostly about connecting fragmented liquidity seamlessly, or even just building tools to make trading just that much more convenient or easier, kind of like the limit orders that Matcha implemented. But then other DeFi environments, I think they should be more concerned about onboarding the users that they don't have right now. Whereas EVM DeFi pain points or EVM DeFi should focus on current pain points that users have, like abstracting bridging, abstracting bridging, for example. And I imagine DeFi applications in the near future will probably become de facto bridges that seamlessly enable traders to execute trades between chains. And I know a project called Descent that's building this functionality for NFTs right now, and it'll likely expand to tokens. But I think Matcha, I'd be curious to ask that question to Matcha about its future roadmap, if it has any plans to build any sort of or build or integrate sort of like de facto bridge infrastructure.
Nice. Thank you, Micah. I will not comment on any of that. I'm gonna just thank you and send it to Will next. I want to remind folks that there's a tweet in the pinned tweets right now on top of your spaces that you should retweet if you want to be included in the raffle for 50 USD for our listeners on today's spaces. I see some of you are being stingy with the likes. That's okay. I'm not requiring you to like. Just retweet the thing. But also, some of you are liking and not retweeting, and I'm curious why you're doing that. But hey, thank you for doing that, folks. And thank you for Micah's outlook on the future of DeFi and how DeFi protocols can get better. Listen back. You can replay that part if you want to listen again. Well, I got one more for you, sir. Various developments and upgrades in Q3. Matcha is chopping. We're cooking right now. What can users expect from Matcha in the coming quarters in terms of features, UX, market positioning, all that?
Yeah, well, so being a DEX aggregator is challenging. There are so many decentralized exchanges that are constantly emerging, and now that we support, I believe, 9 different networks, this challenge has just kind of compounded, and so we're constantly fighting this battle to support all of the emerging liquidity sources as they come out, and ensure our pricing is as best as it can be. I would say there are a number of items on our roadmap that I'm extremely excited to talk more about. Micah, I think you talked about how kind of the space is going more multi-chain, and the need for kind of abstracting away bridging and making kind of the multi-chain experience a bit more seamless. That's something that is something we're spending a lot of time thinking about, and hopefully we'll have more to share soon. So I see Peter from Circle is in this call. So like one thing that I'm really excited about is Circle's cross-chain transfer protocol. So having native versions of USDC on all of these different networks, all these layer 2s, layer 1s, and allowing users to seamlessly move their native USDC from one chain to another is an incredibly powerful unlock. So massive shout out to Circle. I feel like this is going to be one of the kind of core pieces of infrastructure that the crypto space is going to be relying on, alongside the kind of full decentralized solutions that exist and the intent-based solutions that exist for bridging. But I think efforts like CCTP are just an example of what you might be able to see in the near future, and in like a more multi-chain matcha. We'll have to see. But you know keep keep following us on matcha. Hopefully, we'll have more to share on that soon.
As the guy who you will be following on Matcha, we will have some stuff to share soon, folks. And I hope that you're excited after listening to this spaces about what's coming. Not only, not only to Matcha, but for DeFi in general. Everything that we're doing at Matcha is benefiting DeFi in general. We're trying to make people like Micah happy in terms of innovating for DeFi and all the use cases that are possible, and also people like you who love Matcha, love DeFi, and just want to see it grow. Last call, and I want to say this because I forgot. Please follow Matcha also. That's a requirement on TweetPicker. You should be following Matcha if you retweeted to enter yourself for this raffle. I'm going to give you a moment to hit the follow, and then I'm going to press the button. So go, hurry. Twitter fingers, tap the follow. Big oval button. They didn't mess that one up yet. Here we go. I want to say thank you once more for you guys that joined us on this Twitter Spaces today. You need to be in this Twitter Spaces if I pick your name. And then I'll DM you and we can facilitate getting you your USDC. All right, let's look. Is Salvador in the building? We got Optimism. Yeah, I see you. Bang. Screenshot. Salvador with the Arbitrum hearts and the goat and the fire. You're in. You won. Odin, boom, I see you too. Odin, thank you for being here and listening to the spaces. I hope you learned a little bit, and I hope you try and find some crazy tokens on matcha.xyz. Amir C. Fuel. Oh, baby, I hope you're here. Don't do it to me, Amir. Let's see. If you're here and your name's Amir, I see a number of Amirs. Sea Castle Boat Fuel. Raise your hand or I'm moving on to the next. Oh, I'm not. My dog, I'm not seeing you in here. I see another Amir. That's not you. Oh, it is. You changed your name? Or you got multiple accounts? Oh, dang. Nah, hold on. That's not the same account, and you got a different name. All right. Unfortunately, Amir, you are getting skipped because Amir C, your other account, might not be in the spaces right now. Guy Bonet character. We got two more guys, including Guy Bonet character. I want to thank you for joining the spaces today. This Guy Bonet character in here. And then last is going to be Meme Coin Heart with the monkey profile picture. Here, let me do this. I'll screenshot this. And then I'll screenshot who is in the spaces right now. And we will make sure we get that done after this. All right. So if I just named your name real quick, though, please raise your hand and join the spaces. And if not, I'll make sure that I'll announce who wins for real after this. That is Guy Bonet character and Meme Coin with the monkey profile picture. If you're not on this screenshots, I'll get who is after this. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining the Matcha Messari Monday spaces. I'm going to get one more hot take from each of our guests before we go. But I want to make sure you know that I'm very appreciative that you joined us. Thanks for joining this raffle. Two of you might win this that I haven't named yet. So just stick around on the Matcha Twitter for that. But before we go, Micah, it has been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to, doing an AMA with an analyst because you guys have so many things. You see so many things and you have so many hot takes. But with all the performance and strategy that you wrote about for Matcha Q3 2023, how do you feel like that positions Matcha in the competitive landscape of DEX aggregators, I should say, especially in comparison to a platform like 1inch? Like how are we doing? Are you excited about it? What can we improve? All that.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, it's pretty demonstrably clear that 0x builds some of the best DeFi infrastructure on Ethereum or EVM-based environments. You've proved it at the very least with having some of the lowest revert rates among any of the competitors. And I think regarding Matcha's likely biggest competitor, at least the one with the biggest name, is 1inch, and I think Matcha simply performs better, at least in the realm of having reliable transactions, and you guys have some killer features that you just launched, so that was yeah, I mean, I think this is all really interesting stuff, and I look forward to seeing if and how Matcha addresses a more multi-chain world. So that's
Stay tuned, Micah. We appreciate that. You heard it here first, folks. If you are using 1inch right now as your main, that's what you type in when you're like, oh, I got to swap this token right now. Maybe move over to the other side of the keyboard where M starts. Type in matcha.xyz. See what you think. I want you to check your trade history, matcha.xyz/history, and see what you've done on Matcha. Some embarrassing stuff on there probably. I want you to try a limit order. I want you to try a free swap that some other dexes in the space are charging you for when you do Matcha standard swaps. All right, same liquidity, maybe even more. And finally, I want you to try doing a token search. Look for something wild, bro, and then send me if you find what you're looking for. Thank you, Micah. Absolute pleasure. And Will, what is the last thing you want people to think about before they tune out for the holiday week?
The last thing I want everyone to think about, well, I hope everyone has a nice holiday. And yeah, really appreciate everyone tuning in to take the time to learn about this report that Messari did and learn more about Matcha as a product. I hope you try it out. No pressure. And if you do, hope you enjoy it. And yeah, always welcome user feedback.
Yeah, let us know. I'm in. Y'all be tweeting at me, telling me what you don't like. I submit it directly to the engineers. Believe that. So thank you. We're trying to build a product that you love, that Micah loves, that everybody in this space will love. No pressure. Take a peek at Matcha when you can. And stick around for more spaces like this. I'm not telling you why or what's going on, but we got more spaces coming up very, 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 very soon. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys there too. Thanks for everybody who stuck around with us. I see you, LP. I see you, 0x Rafi. I see you, Ardo. I see you, 0x Shah. And we'll see you in the next spaces. Stick around. Follow Micah. Before we go, tap Micah's profile picture here in the space. Give him a follow. Major big brain alert. Someone you're going to want to be following during the next bull market. Oh, let me ask this before we go. Will, are we in a bull market or not?
Yeah, I have no idea, and I don't have any financial advice to offer.
That's pretty much what I wanted you to say, anyways. It's ambivalent. Nobody knows, not even Will. But also give Will a follow too. One of the OGs in DeFi, period. OGs in Ethereum also. So give Will a follow. And thank you guys. We'll see you next time on the next spaces. Have a great day and stay safe on chain.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.